This week we're finishing The Songbird and the Heart of Stone by Carissa Broadbent, otherwise known as Let It Happen, I Know Her.
Hi readers, I'm Jordan.
And I'm Katie.
And welcome to Not Another Heroine, the book pod where we celebrate the heroines we love
and roast the ones we don't. We'll be your TBR FGMs.
Fairy godmothers.
And find you the best 5-star reads, the spiciest romance, and save you from the overhyped DNFs.
So grab your favorite drink and get cozy. Welcome to Season 3.
Hey yo, it's part 2 and it's gonna get weirder.
How can it get weirder?
It's gonna get boringer, but more weird.
I don't know.
Is that a word? Boring?
No, it's not.
Okay.
But we can make it one for this episode.
Yeah, that's the vibes that we're existing on. In a cloud of sadness and
a lake
boredom.
Of blood and ghosts everywhere. I wish I could replicate the narrator's voice of the audiobook from Misha.
Oh my god.
Because it is so perfect, but it is so grating.
Okay, so I don't know if I did this for a pick of the week. The fake mate. Did I do that as a pick of the week?
Sounds right.
Okay, so for people that haven't watched that episode, the concept of this is it's a rom-com with like shifter werewolves, and there's a girl at the hospital who's a shifter, and she's like a ER or doctor of some sort, and there's obviously the like Kylo Ren Adam Driver character who is also a doctor, and he's an alpha, and he was like taking suppressants or something, and so nobody would know that he was an alpha because it's some sort of like liability thing for the hospital that they work at, and so it like comes out that he is, and so he needs to have a fake girlfriend mate so that he's like less of a liability to like beat people up or whatever. It's the most chipper. The main character is like a blonde girl doctor, preppy, was in a sorority, kind of fun, smart person. The narrator for this book was also the narrator for that. So that's why I couldn't take this audiobook seriously.
I see.
Yeah, because that was like immediately smut at like 30%. Very, very descriptive, very long, drawn out scenes. So trying to listen to this, I was like, where's my silly doctors and Adam Driver and boners in a hospital scene?
Oh my god.
Sorry. But that's why I was very confused when it was her voice. I'm like, I don't know that this is the appropriate narrator, baby.
Not for a path through hell storyline.
Yeah. With also like really traumatized characters too.
It just didn't fit at all.
No. Is there a way that we could put like a portion of it, like 6 seconds without copyright? Probably not.
I think we can link the Audible and you can get the trailer. Like you can listen to the first few minutes.
Yeah, but I would like to know if other people find it as disjointing as maybe we did.
And I see why they chose her though, because that's how Misha is portrayed in the book. If you're reading it, Misha is meant to be like bubbly and talkative and chirpy, and that is how she describes herself.
Yeah.
So I see why they cast that particular voice actress, but it was really, really hard to digest.
Yeah. And it's also like disjointed with the setting. Like,
yeah,
we have ghosts and
oh, but the woman who does the voice of Asar,
whoa, man. Is it a girl?
Yes.
Oh. Wow, yeah, I've never been.
She can read all night.
Honestly. Wow.
She's got like a hint of a British accent.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's get into the book.
Obviously, as you can tell, we were not really excited to finish this. It was exhausting. This was around the point when I was like, I know I'm not going to finish this in time for our like recording session, so I need to download the audiobook and then listen to it at like 2.3 speed to get through it.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's what happened.
That's what happened to both of us.
Yeah.
It was about here where I also switched because I could not stomach it anymore.
Yeah, it's just really fucking long and boring. Sorry.
Katie's hot take.
I'm tired. So they go to get the second relic, which is a poppy flower. They don't know this until they get there, but the getting their point is, oh no, ghosts. Oh no, there's so many of them. There's like giant lizards that are like on the outside of the building.
And there's like alligators that are guarding the altar.
I don't know.
It's really strange.
Blood.
Wraiths everywhere.
Yeah.
You're like, I was uncertain which were the safe zones and which were the like unsafe zones because they're always trying to get to like a temple or a holding house.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah, the whole thing's very confusing, but they get the relic, almost die. Oh no, but they don't. And then they get the relic and etc. But it's poppy flowers, like the big red poppies, which I love as flowers in general. But the flashback is so cute. It's like they're in a field of poppy flowers in the underworld, I'm assuming, and she's been living, Neaxia has been living with Olorus for like a couple like weeks or whatever. And he's like starting to get to the point where he understands why everybody hates her, because she's like power hungry and she, is always dreaming of like, a bigger future and wanting stuff. And he's like, I dig that. I think that's hot. And then he like picks up one of the flowers or something, and they're like talking about something kind of unimportant, and then he like brushes them on her lips. I was like, dear God, Jesus. Like, oh my God, love it. But then you're brought out into boring land again.
I could just read the Neaxia and Alara story.
Oh yeah,
must be written in third person. I swear to God, don't switch to first person.
Don't ruin it. But it's hard because I mean the first book in this series is first person, and I liked it. But I don't know. Maybe the point you made about the heroine maybe being the issue.
I hope it's just the heroine.
Yeah.
And then as they're progressing through these levels of hell, I keep forgetting his name.
Asar.
I want to say Alaris or Atraxis or any of those. Asar is teaching not Neaxia.
There's too many characters. Misha.
How to help him rebuild these gates in between the levels.
Oh, yeah.
I skimmed that part. I didn't pay a lot of attention. Oh, great. We're using new powers. Awesome.
Yeah. Because I feel like this was supposed to be the point where they like build their relationship and they like realize the other isn't as bad as they were expecting.
Mm-hmm.
And we also get some that she like wakes up in the middle of the night and she's like, oh, something's wrong. And she follows some kind of prompting by some supernatural being into the middle of nowhere, which, okay, decisions were made, but that's kind of a scary decision, first of all.
Just to interject, this is what you read from her perspective. She says, I didn't think before I blank. And you read that line over and over and over again. I didn't think before I jumped off the cliff. She literally jumps off a fucking cliff. I didn't think before I ran off and followed him.
Yeah.
That's Misha in a nutshell. She doesn't think before she acts.
Nope. Because she would be the first person to die in a horror movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Everyone would push her in front of them.
They're like, nope, you're a liability.
Stop giggling, Misha.
Yeah. Oh my God. So she follows prompts from some supernatural whatever. And then she gets to one of these gates and it's like barely holding on. And I think these are the gates that like join the library thing that is their safe haven with the rest of hell. And so all of these ghosts are trying to get in and they're like not supposed to. And so he's trying to like recharge the gate and fix it, but he's like obviously not going to make it. He's like on his last limb or whatever. And she's like, oh no, I need to rescue him. And they like save them or whatever. And then the like skeleton fox dog thing is like, you guys need to come with me. We need to like save him. And she like brings him up all of these stairs as he's like almost dying. And then he gets put in a bathtub. And then
I forgot about the bathtub. The bathtub. It's like a magical bathtub filled with like life juice. Something.
Yeah, life juice.
Oh my God.
Yeah, because she gets him in the bathtub and then she's like, okay, cool. And then the dog is like, no, you get in the bathtub too.
I forgot about that scene. It's so weird.
Yeah. And then she just like falls asleep in the bathtub with him. And then she wakes up and then she's like looking at their toes and she's like, I don't think I'm supposed to see his feet. It's like, okay, that's a weird thing to say, like right off the bat, but cool. And then they're like cuddling together and then they have to like, oh my God, I'm not supposed to be touching you. And then like someone jumps away and then they go back into hell. So yeah.
I had completely blanked out that scene until you brought up the bathtub.
Yeah, because that's our first hint at like some kind of like romantic whatever. And I digged it, but it's like that should have been the whole thing. That like maybe, the plot is they're trying to protect Mothrin from hell encompass. There's too much going on.
Too many layers of activities, and which I guess I would err on the side of having too much than not enough. Because it's going to be boring no matter what, apparently.
Because that's crazy though, is there's just so much going on, but it's like maybe like not one individual thing got the attention it needed or something. But I don't know. So they go through another layer of hell. And then I think the third one is when they meet Ophelia for the first time, right?
Yeah, she'd be crazy.
Yeah.
She is described as the most creepy, weird demon shadow woman who strangely knows
Asar.
Asar.
There we go. I was like, I hope that's who you're talking about.
They're trying to escape out of this level after like fixing it or whatever.
I think it's like a library or something.
Yeah, and
or a maze. And she like
Yeah.
lights up the wall and then they get to the center part.
She like I pictured what's that super scary movie, Hereditary?
Oh god.
Like the mom in the corner.
Oh, why did you traumatize me? I didn't think of her that scary. Oh my god. Okay, readers, that movie has traumatized me since I saw it for the first time. Nope. It's a good movie though, but it's like horrifying.
Yeah.
But that's
Ophelia.
Oh my god. I didn't need to be
She's the mom
traumatized.
from Hereditary.
Holy
But she's like creepily and sexually moving towards Asar.
Yeah.
And he's just telling everyone, let it happen. I know her. Like, come on, man. Like, this is not okay.
Didn't say that.
And he's just giving her a hug and just shooing everyone else out of the room. We're like,
Yep.
this is fucking weird. They let him just hang out with his creepy demon girlfriend.
Yeah. Who's like wrapping herself around him and he's like stuck or something. And
that's it. Like
Yeah.
it's kind of a blur. And then they escape. They
Yeah.
they get out of that area, that
Yeah.
level of hell.
yeah.
And then we get into the next level, which is Psyche.
Yeah.
This was the most interesting level to read. And
Mhm.
so Asar warns everyone before they go in. This is because it's not just Asar and fucking Misha. It's Elias and Chandra.
Yeah.
They're along for the ride because we have to have equal numbers of men and women apparently on this journey. And Chandra's just kind of like there,
Yeah.
just hanging out. Like,
Also, she's like 70 or something.
Yeah.
Like she's an older woman.
I don't know how she survived the song. And Elias is making dumb decisions at every level.
I did not think about it, but all three of them are vampires and she's a human. Why didn't Elias try to like drink Chandra's
I
blood?
don't know.
Because like at this point, no one had like fed really.
There's some inconsistencies, I think, with
Yeah.
the plot here. But Asar warns everyone, hey, Psyche's very dangerous. Psyche will try to keep you trapped in the level of Psyche. It's going to use your own mind against you. Huh, I wonder why.
Yeah.
And Saran's all right, we got it. It's fine. They walk in. It's creepy, rivers of blood and stuff. And as they're making their way through Psyche, Asar stops and looks down, and this mark has appeared on his forearm.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
This is the big surprise.
Ooh.
And what the mark is, it denotes the next heir to the kingdom, whether it's Shadowborn or Nightborn. And so what that indicates is that the king just died. And so, oh no, what does Elias do?
I'm going to murder you because my boss is your competitor for that crown.
Yeah.
Oh no.
So he pulls out a sword and stabs Asar
Yeah.
and then shoves him off a cliff
Yeah.
into a sea of blood.
Yeah.
It was such a weird turn of events because I thought there was a friendship between Elias and Asar. Like, why is Elias on this fucking trip?
Yeah.
There was no explanation for why Asar would let this happen.
I don't know. The only thing I feel like I got at the beginning was just he was there because like the sister wanted insurance of some sort, but that like also doesn't really make sense. Plot device.
Yeah, and then I didn't think before I leaped off the cliff. And so Misha runs after Asar, not before Elias tries to like snag her to take her back to the land of the living.
Oh yeah, because he's like, my lady will reward you if you help me get back. And she's like, obviously not. And then he walks away.
Yeah, like they leave. It's
Yeah.
fine.
Yep.
And as this is all happening, Atraxis has been visiting Misha in her dreams at night to be like, are you still on the path of righteousness?
Your Lord and Savior.
Just here checking in.
Literally exactly what happens. Because I think at the beginning, he says, I want you to get all the way through all of these. And then at the very last second, when he like puts the guy together, I'm going to come in and like murder him or you're going to murder him so that he's like for realsy dead.
Yeah, that is the grand plan for Atraxis and Misha. And Misha the entire time is like, yeah, buddy, I got this. We're doing fine.
Mm-hmm.
So Atraxis is visiting.
Yeah, but then Pandora-esque succumbs to the romance with the guy.
Yeah, starts to believe his story and doubt her faith.
Oh, yeah, because he's like, love shouldn't look like this. You're getting burned every time that you use your power. Like, if he really loved you, would that really happen? Which I love as a concept, but I feel like it gets mugged down with literally everything else going on.
Yeah. Then we get this set of scenes where Misha and Asar separately have fallen into the blood of Psyche, and they are now trapped in their own individual memories.
Mm-hmm.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
We get flashbacks to Misha as an acolyte and flashbacks to her like wedding night.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all of these happy memories. She has a flashback to like she's in bed with somebody. And then as she's in bed, like having sexy times, the dude's face changes to Asar's face.
Oh, yeah, because that was when she lost her virginity when on her marriage night to the god. Yeah, because she's like, oh, this is great. And then it wasn't great. And then it was great.
And then like, do you prefer this face better? Like, actually. But there's a little bird that she sees in every single flashback as she's like enjoying the scene. It's like, something's not right. That little bird has been there every time. That doesn't belong in my bedchamber.
Yeah. And I think each time there's like a guy with the bird and it comes into more detail each time. And she's like, oh, wait a second. Who is that?
And then she remembers and it's
Pew, pew, pew.
Asar.
But then we get put into Asar's memories?
Yeah, so then she becomes the observer. So I guess the takeaway here is that Asar has been observing her memories. And then the switch flips. And so she goes and observes him as like a little boy. And she watches his dog get murdered. Yeah. And then she watches as he brings his dog back to life because he's practicing his necromancy with his dad. And then she watches as he meets Ophelia, his dead ex-wife, and they have this happy, like they meet at a party and they fall in love, and she's like vivacious and engaging and like they love each other, except his older brother is an asshole and he murders her just because he doesn't want his little brother to have toys that he doesn't have.
Yeah.
And then we watch as Asar tries to bring his dead wife back to life through necromancy, but she's been dead for too long, and so it doesn't work. It goes haywire, and then, oh no, Misha recognizes the evil, crazy demon woman as Ophelia, the dead ex-wife girlfriend type.
Oopsie.
Full circle.
Oh no. I will say the Ophelia thing was really sad, but at the beginning when we know Asar before we find this out, he doesn't strike me as someone that has this like emotional baggage or is like holding out for like a lost love kind of thing, which I feel like how he was supposed to be portrayed at this point in the series is like he's still not really over Ophelia, and that's why he was like, no, you guys go ahead, like I'm paying my penance, like Ophelia deserves to like murder me or whatever, etc. But it's like that needs to be within his characterization at the beginning because he's just like grumpy and like
you don't
for
have
no reason.
Any impression that he's got this level of baggage when you first meet him.
Yeah, because I feel like he should also be like confused or like, you know, going back and forth of his growing feelings for Misha at this point because like, you know, Ophelia, but like there's none of that at all either.
I think it would have been a much more compelling story had we taken out all of these external like celestial elements, right?
Yeah.
And so we have a keeper of the underworld who has to repair the gates between the levels. And he lost his, you know, beloved woman, you know, years ago. And that's it. He didn't try to bring her back to life, but he knows there's a way to do it. And so he knows she's trapped in the underworld. So he brings along a chick with special powers who he needs to help complete, you know, the journey to get to his dead ex-lover.
Yeah.
And as he's journeying to save her, he starts to fall in love with the chick. And then now we have this moral conundrum, like, okay, if you can bring your ex-lover back to life, but in the meantime, you fall in love with someone else.
Ooh, this is like a reverse love triangle. Because I feel like we never get the like two girls without one of them being like a total bitch.
Think of the tension.
Wow, yeah. Because he's like, what do I do? Like, I love her, but I also love her, and I have this moral obligation to like bring her back. But like this new hottie. Wow, that's the fan fiction I'd read. There it is. Done deal. Carissa,
please write it. I'm not writers.
See, that's the thing is like I love her so much that I just want her to write like a slightly different version of this book that's better.
Okay, so they get out of Psyche.
Somehow they like save each other.
They realize they love each other. As Misha so eloquently puts it, oh, he really likes me.
Thank you.
I wish that wasn't a quote.
It
is.
I know. Yeah, because also, when do they meet Esme?
Some
Is
time
that at this
after.
point?
Yeah.
Okay, so at some of these, like, in between, they've been so, like, fucked up by the events of Psyche that they, like, take a vacation something.
That's exactly what they have. A bath, they have a meal.
Yeah. So they're at this, like, ghost's house, and this is Esme's house, and Esme was the previous warden of the prison before Asar. And she's like, oh my gosh, like, I love seeing your beautiful face, you silly guy. What are you doing down there? And he's like, I'm putting back together the god of death. And she's like, wow, that's not a good idea, but okay. And then she's like, I'm picking up some sexual tension between you two. How about you put on this slutty nightgown after you take a bath, and then I'm gonna have him play the piano, and we're all gonna dance together.
About this scene.
And so she's like, I'm gonna go to bed now that I've, like, raised the weird sexual tension in the room. And then obviously we get some sort of, like, almost love confession, and then ghost post into the house.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Kind of ruins the vibe.
Oh, doesn't dude, what's his face? Malik?
Oh yeah, Malik's ghost come back too. Like,
Oh, and Misha's sister.
oh yep, yeah, she's there too.
Everyone's here for the party.
Yeah, I don't know how they get out of that, but, like,
They do.
by the skin of their teeth kind of thing, and like, oh, they survived again.
We can fast forward to the end.
Yeah, they feed off of each other in a really, like, sexual way.
I forgot about that part too.
So that happens somewhere in the middle, and then they get to the very end, and then something happens in some kind of dream, and then Misha is like, why do you look weird in all of your reflections? And he's like, don't focus on that, it's nothing. And they get to the very end, they put all the pieces together, and then they are about to bring Alaris back, and then
Traxxas shows up.
yeah, and then I don't remember what happens at the end.
I think it is some variation of Misha and realizes that what's his name?
Asar.
I can't. I don't know why that doesn't want to stay in my brain.
That's fair.
Asar has been intending to sacrifice himself.
Oh, that's what
He needs. So they need an element from each. So, like, level section.
Yeah.
There's a theme. I don't know what the theme is, but they need a soul
Yeah.
to complete the, like, necromancy of the god.
Yeah.
And the soul that they're planning to use is Asar.
Yeah.
I remembered his name that
Yeah.
time.
Nice.
Thank you.
Well done. He's
All-
also, like, a descendant.
He has drops of Alaris's blood. He is like a minor descendant. And
Yeah.
so that is why his soul is the appropriate one to use for the final ceremony.
Yeah. And then Atraxis shows up, and she's like, oh, okay, I'm not really cool with this anymore, and stabs him.
With a magical golden arrow
Yeah.
that he was going to use to murder
Alaris?
Yeah.
And so he big dead. Like dead. Right?
Yeah.
Dead.
But the ceremony was like half complete. So they didn't bring Alaris back to life. They got like half of him, just enough of his powers that Asar managed to, like, come out of the ceremony not complete, but he is now a god.
Yeah.
He is now Alaris.
Yeah.
And Misha's dead.
Yeah, she gets murdered because all the other gods show up, and they're like, what the fuck is going on down here? And they're like, we were trying to bring back this other god, but instead we accidentally made another god, but then I also killed the sun god. And they're like, girl, you are being murdered.
Yeah. So she
dies.
just dead.
Yeah.
And then we get a switch to Asar's perspective, and he's like looming over her dead body, like, oh no, not again.
God damn it. Why does this keep happening?
And the gods kind of drag him away because they can't kill another god.
Yeah.
They
And
have
they're
to
also like, what the fuck is going on? Like, who are you?
This is weird. And then Neaxia shows up, and she's pissed off. Like, this is not how it was supposed to go. You are not my husband.
Yeah.
Everyone's mad at Asar.
Yeah. Because they're also, I think all the gods are freaked out because they don't know how many of Alaris's original memories Asar has, and they're like, well, he kind of, like, murdered you on the down low, and, like, I don't know if you remember that or not. Oh no. And he's like, it doesn't matter if I remember that or not, which I do, but you murdered my girlie right in front of me. Well, I obviously remember that, and I'm kind of upset, and now I'm gonna fucking fuck you up.
That's a great summary.
But I mean, like, why did they not, like, you like murdered her right there? Like, shouldn't you be, like, concerned about that first?
So that's the end. Except we get one little epilogue.
Yeah.
Because Misha wakes up in the underworld. I couldn't see that
Obviously.
one coming. And she is accompanied by none other than
Vincent. which if you haven't read the first book, that means nothing to you.
But if you have,
Yeah.
I kind of had a thing for Vincent.
Oh, for sure. That's why I was so mad that he died. But I also feel like it's kind of silly that he's being brought back because, like, I have no idea how he's going to play into this because he, for sure, is going to be really pissed off that his daughter and her boyfriend killed him.
Mhm.
So, like, is he a bad guy then?
He's,
You know what I mean? I don't want to see him as a bad guy. He was righteously, he was on a quest.
there's a lot of loose ends. It's supposed to be a cliffhanger. I will admit, I didn't see the whole Asar Alaris thing coming.
I did like that.
That was a nice touch.
Yeah.
I like that Misha died.
Yeah.
I liked
Yeah.
We've got some, maybe she'll come back as like a darker version of herself.
I could see that.
Shades of Ophelia.
Ooh. Ooh.
She'd be more interesting.
I know. Yeah, I don't know how this is going to go. I might read the next one just to find out, but like I'm going to need something less boring than whatever this was. I'm still hurt because I was so excited. I even like told my partner that I was like really like jonesing for whatever this book was going to be. We started listening to the audiobook and my partner was like, you don't really look like you're enjoying this. And like, I'm not really enjoying this because you have it on, your speaker and it's like not good. Like, are you okay? And I'm like, no, I'm not okay.
Oh, no. Well, we've kind of already talked about some of our main like book club questions here, which is like, what would we do differently?
Yeah,
like,
your idea I love. Write a fan fiction for it.
I'm sure there's a book that already exists with this plot.
Oh.
There's got to be.
If our readers have read it, please recommend it because I would like to read that to, get this off of my mind.
And I think if you do like this book, no shade against you, you probably relate to the heroine a lot more. I feel as if the heroine were slightly different, coded differently, we might have been able to tolerate how boring some of these plot points were.
I think for me, there was no romantic tension and it just like, the plot was interesting, but not enough to make up for the fact that there was no romantic tension.
That's true.
Like I didn't really have any like beef necessarily with Misha, but like it was just boring. It's like I want some spice in my life.
And I have read good versions of like soft girlies that are, fun. Like they may not be as relatable, but they're still interesting. And it's not like Assistant to the Villain has kind of got that same kind of heroine code. And then there's a book that Taylor recommended. Oh, shout out to Taylor, by the way.
I know, our first patron.
Thank you, Taylor.
Yeah. I feel all like giggly, like, ooh.
It's finally happening.
Yeah. Taylor.
Oh, The Undertaking of Hart and Mercy.
Yeah.
That's a Grumpy Sunshine romance, very chirpy heroine.
With similar like plot points, right? Like
the
death.
There's a death land that they have to cross and repair the wall.
Yeah. Oh, wow. That's very similar.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay. So actually we have a few,
recommendations.
So Deathless by...
Catherynne Valente, I think.
And then The Undertaking of Hart and Mercy. And then some of Carissa Broadbent's other books.
Yeah, read literally any like the other ones. I did like there was a little shout out to the Assassin Sisterhood from Slaying the Vampire Conqueror because they run into a ghost that has like a slip of cloth over her eyes and Elias is like, what the fuck, guys? Like these are ghosts. And it's like, oh yeah, don't worry about that one, even though she could like totally destroy your life. I love that book. It was good. Oh, and they talked about the island that they took over in that book.
They did. They mentioned it very briefly. There's good and okay average things about this book.
Yeah.
So from our shelf to yours,
we'll see you on the next page. Hi, readers. Like what you've been hearing? Check out the Spice Archive at notanotherheroine.com to see all of our reviews and ratings. And if you'd like to support our growing library, find us on Patreon and get access to exclusive bonus content.
If you'd like to just listen, we post new episodes every Monday and Wednesday on Spotify, Apple, and Amazon. Thanks for listening.